Hi. Today we are going to discuss about XML. XML. So, what is XML? XML stands for what is XML? XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. XML is a software and hardware independent tool for storing and transporting the data. So XML is used to storing the data as well as transporting the data. So it is intermediate between client as well as server, so that it can just it is piece of textual information which is stored as XML. Okay, so it is transport data means it will be intermediate between client, nothing but browser software, what actually send the data to the server. While actually, what actual scenario is while sending the data from browser to server or server to browser. Okay, so XMLs act as intermediate between them. So bulk amount of data suppose posted by the web browser, so that will be redirected to server actually done by the XML. So that's what it is used to store the data. So XML is also used to store the information as well as and transporting the data. So that bulk amount of data transportation can be done with the use of XML. So what actually XML is? Extensible Markup Language. Extensible means user able to define their own tags. Okay, so that those tags can be used. That is the meaning of extensible. Markup means actually the structure provides structuring the information onto the displaying to the data onto the that console. So in order to provide the marking, so structuring the data, we are using tags. So that based on the tags, the information will be structured. That will be marked. So markup, that is the meaning of markup. Language means it can be understood. It is between the lies between human understandable as well as machine understandable. So that extensible markup language means user can able to define their own XML tags, okay, and use that in order to structure the data, right? And that will be used actually between like in the applications, client and server application, right? So basically, this is XML's which is defines deployment descriptors. Deployment descriptors, meaning where actually whenever the server receives the request from the client, okay, in order to redirect that request to the corresponding application, or else in order to identify the application which lies in the server itself, it uses make use of XML tags. So with a piece of information, it redirected to corresponding application. That is so that XMLs plays very important role in while developing applications. So that these XMLs can be defined in our own, meaning program like whenever implementers can define, can use those type of XMLs. So what is XML? XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. XML is a markup language much like HTML. So HTML hypertext markup language. So what is the HTML? Actually, duty of HTML is whatever data that will be given in the HTML tag that will be displayed on the web page as structure, right? So by using markup. So in HTML, predefined tags are there. By using those HTML tags, so as a web designer, we are using that in order to display the data onto the web page. Okay, but in XML, user able to define. So while users are able to define their own XML tags, and those tags can be used. So in order to provide, store as well as transport the data, right? So XML was designed to store and transport the data, and XML was designed to be self-descriptive. So it provides description about the data. So, but HTML cannot provide a description, only display the data. doesn't know what actually HTML doesn't know what actually the data will be displayed on the web page. But XML knows about what actual data will be having. Right? And XML is introduced by W3C consortium. So it is recommended and introduced by the W3C consortium. Right? This is about XML. And then XML does not do anything. Means it won't do anything. Just only thing is it is having textual information, piece of information. Data will be having. Okay, it may be a little hard to understand, but XML does not do anything. So this is simple. See, simple tags we have written. Just only note. Okay, so here note is a main tag. So just we already we know what actually XML HTML tags. So in that way you can understand first. So note is a root tag here. There are some tags are being defined, right? Used. So here motto is for this XML. To sending in from Jani the data will be sent to the to. So don't forget that information is don't forget me in this. That's only thing they are going to meet there. So they are communicating each other with the XML tags. So that for that it uses note is a root tag, note is a root tag, and TO2 from heading, body or child tags for the note. Okay, so this is the thing only. So these are the XML tags cannot be defined, not predefined. This is actually defined by us. Okay, so that just in what way we are defining these type of tags, we need to know, right? So this XML tags look like this. So structurally, and is having the data. So what is the data here? TO2, right? And to be Jani, remainder, don't forget this weekend. So that type of data, so we can use it. Next, so simply what actually the XML above is quite self-descriptive. This is self-descriptive. It has sender information, it has receiver information, and it has heading, it has body. So, but the XML above does not do anything. Just only thing it is wrapping the data into the text. Okay, so that we can use it. So I will before that write the XML tags. So we should know what is the difference, what are the differences between XML and HTML. So both XML and HTML are designed with different goals, and XML is designed to carry data with focus on only with the data. What data is. So that meaning what XML knows about the, so it knows description of, it is having description of the data. But HTML was designed to display data, focus on how data looks. So it only thing is it is provide just display the, how the data, how effectively the data will be displayed on the web page. That can be done by the HTML. Okay, XML tags are not predefined like HTML. So that XML tags are user defined. In what way user defined the data types are there in the programming languages? That way XML tags are having user defined tags, but HTML having predefined tags. So if you want to use HTML, you should use those what actually having HTML having tags. Those tags only you should use in order to display the data onto the browser. Okay. Next. So XML does not use predefined tags, and the XML language has no predefined tags. Okay, and the tags in the example. So what actually the example what we have written there, TO2 from. There are two tags not defined in any XML standards. So TO2 and from the tags, those are paired tags. Those are not defined any XML standards what actually introduced by the WC consortium, right? These tags are invented by the who? Author of the XML document. So if I want to develop XML pages, so I should define my tags and I should use those tags. In what way we are going to define those tags? That we should do learn. And in order to define those tags, what actually structures we are following. And so XML is also having elements attributes, values, what way we had in HTML. But only difference is HTML uses in order to develop web pages, HTML uses predefined tags, and XML uses user-defined, author-defined tags. Okay, and so what actually HTML works predefined tags like paragraphs, H1 table, etc. With XML, the other must define both the tags and the document structure. Right? So other has to define document tags first. Then in what way the tags are defined, the other has to provide document structure. That we will learn in the future classes. What is actually document structure? In what way the document structure will be defined. Okay. So difference between HTML and XML language. So one thing is HTML does not know what actually content will be displayed on the web page, and also HTML uses predefined tags in order to display the content. Okay, and what is XML knows about data, what data it has, and XML's other has to define and structure the tags. So that is nothing but that's what extensible markup language is called as. And then so what actually here is XML is extensible. Most XML application will work as expected even if new data is added. So we can append the data, we can remove the data even in XML documents. Okay, so already had something. So for example, just before we have written a node.xml, which is having to tag and from tag, heading tag, data tag. Okay, so that new version of I will update that node.xml in such way that it is having date and hour and remove the heading tag. So that the way XML constructor older version will be will still work. So just I removed heading tag and I added date and hour. So in this way, the new version of this is XML, node.xml. So earlier it consists of only two from heading and body, and updated XML is here. Just I added date and hour and remove the head. Okay, in that way we can add attributes, we can remove the attributes, we can add XML tags or as a tail tags, or we can remove tags. So this is possible. Flexibility is possible in XML. Okay, so this is difference between them. What we actually done. This is the old version here. See, this is the old version. So note TO2 from head section is there now. Don't forget in this way. I updated this with the same. Only thing is extra. I provided date instead of head. Just I provided date. Okay, so same will work same thing. So both XML documents are working same. Extra we are added tags. Okay, in this way, this is extensible. Fine, and then XML simplifies things. So it simplifies data sharing, it simplifies data transport, it simplifies platform changes, it simplifies data availability. So data sharing means it will also suppose while client send the data to the server, so requesting the data from server, or the server posting the data to the reply the data to the client. So it lies between server and client as descriptor as XML, so the data can be shared as well as data can be transported, and platform changes. So even though the platform changes, so different platforms are used, but XML won't need to change the XML documents. So that it simplifies changes of the platform, right? And also data availability. So this is available to everyone. It can open, it can be modified. So availability of XML tags is right. So that it simplifies things very easy, right? And XML stores data in plain text format. So it should be as plain text. This is provides a software and hardware independent way of storing and transporting, sharing the data. Storing, transporting, and sharing the data. So even by using XML also, we can connect it with the databases also. Even we can using XML also we can make this so cookies sections also, right? So these are the things we are providing storing. So irrespective of the server, we will XML provides so that that's what irrespective of the server, irrespective of the hardware configuration, it will be platform. That is meaning of a platform independence. So we can store the data, we can transfer the data, we can share the data among the applications, right? And with XML, data can be available to all kinds of reading machines, like can be people, computers, voice machines, and new feeds, etc. These are the things we can data can be available. So that meaning availability means we can open, we can anyone can read, computers can read, voice machines can read, and news feeds can read. That type of machines, it can be read the data. That is the meaning. It simplifies very nicely. Even now, we can't see what if Java compiles bytecode, we can't see, but it can understand. Okay. So anyway, it simplifies many things. And how can we XMLs be used? So XMLs use many aspects of the development. So the usage of that, XML is often used to separate data from presentations. Okay, so if it is not visible that XML provide this data presentation, so it can be separated. So presentation logic and business logic, database logic can be separated by the XML stacks. This is possibility is that why? Because if you talk about web application, it should consist of presentation logic, okay, which is going to display the content to the web page, like the user, front end or else front end, and business logic, in what way the web application will be developed. So logic behind that can be done, okay, and in order to store the information in database logic, okay, so that in that way it lies between presentation, it can separate presentation, database logic, and business logic, and lies between them. It can communication is possible between presentation to business logic. So through XML documents, okay, and XML is often a complement to the HTML. So this is in many XML applications, XML is to store or transport data, while HTML is used to format and display the same data. Okay, so XMLs are used to basic is store and transfer the data. For example, what we have done PHP there by using the post method or get method, we are sending the data to the server, right? Data to the server. So how it can be identified? The server as identified, or server, how the server handle the request. So here server uses some application. In order to identify that application, web server uses XML document. XML document. So XML document is having information, textual information. By using that, the data, the control will be given to the corresponding application. This is the meaning of store and transfer the data. Okay, so in that way we can use XMLs, and XML separates data from HTML. So when displaying data in HTML, you should not have edit the HTML file when the data changes. But with XML, data can be stored in separate XML files. So few lines of JavaScript code, you can read the XML file and update the data content of any HTML pages. Okay, so it can, this way the data can be separated from the HTML. Okay, so up to now we have discussed what is XML, okay, and what are the differences between XML, HTML, and XMLs are predefined tags. So like XMLs user-defined tags, okay, and also follow the structure of the way of tags like HTML only, like HTMLs only, okay, HTML tags only, right? So here, since simple example I showed here, XML documents for a tree structure that starts from root, the branches to the leaves. So in order to define XML elements, okay, in what way we will form? So first thing is all the XML elements or XML tags or parent tags. Parent tags, nothing but opening the tag, closing the tag, opening the tag, closing the tag. Okay, opening the tag and closing the tag differences. Closing the tag having forward slash. Okay, so this is a simple example. So root element here is a bookstore. So this is act as parent, and child element is book. Child element is book. So that under, so for the bookstore is the parent. Okay, and bookstore having the chain as book. So that it's having the, as well as a book having, book is an element which is having attribute category. Attribute is category, and book is having four elements, four tags: title, author, year, and price, and price. Okay, and every here we are specifying attributes of each element. So title having the attribute language, one more that have also text, one more attribute everyday Italian, and also element other tags having text, okay, some value, some name, and year as text value is some year, and price, what actually the price of this we are specifying as text. So that we are specifying T structure, right? So in order to write the XML tags. So here root tag is bookstore, child, for that child tag is book, which is having four child tags. Okay, this is the way we can define the XML tags. So this, for that, this is a program, XML program, XML, or not actually program, this is a document. So here the above represent the books in this XML. So first part is XML version. XML version 1.0. Version is 1.0. Encoding character, unified text formatting, that is 8. That is standard encoding character UTF for 8 standard. So what we specified, bookstore. So see, bookstore, okay, root tag, opening bookstore, and pay tag, right? This is closing bookstore, and this is having book, okay, having attribute category. So book having title, author, year, price. So opening book, closing book, and there are 1, 2, 3 are there. So we are describing 3 books of information where in bookstore tag. So these 3 books of information we are storing in bookstore are by using book XML. So right, XML tag. So for each book we are having 4 tags: title, author, year, price. Okay. So by entering corresponding values, we can store this books information in bookstore. So in order to store the books information, we are using these tags. These tags are not predefined. That is defined by us. So this is the information like this. So that in order to use like this, we should provide structure, document structure. We should define document structure. Okay, that we will know future classes. Okay, this is a simple example. This example we are representing as Prestructure. Next, so finally XML Prestructure. So documents are formed with element trees, and XML tree starts at the root element, what exactly I don't know, and branches from the root to chain element. All the elements can have sub elements. So the structure like this. So root, chain, subchain. So the way of opening the tag, okay, root is, chain is the subtag of root, right? And subchain is the subtag of chain. So here this subchain is open and this is closed. Opening, closing in order. Then opening the tag and closing the tag done in order. So child open, child closed. So that subchain bit is the tag between child. So root open and root closed. So the terms parent, child, siblings are used to describe the relation between the elements. Okay, anyway, in this way we can define XML tags in the XML list. Okay, this pair tag, opening the tag and closing the tag can be done properly. So Next, so that in order to do like this, XML having syntax rules. So some rules are there in order to define tags. Okay. So first point, XML document must have a root element. So like HTML is the root tag. HTML tag is the root tag. Like the XML is also having root tag. Right? And also that should construct XML prolog. What actually XML prolog, you know, less than left angular bracket or left angular bracket, okay, and question mark, see, left angular bracket, question mark, XML space version, we need to specify equal to 1.0. So values in XMLs definitely between double quotes or single quotes. So if you want to write values for the attributes, right, you should specify within double quotes or in single quotes also valid. So encoding is UTF or UTF-8 encoding person. This is mandatory. Prolog is required. Prolog is required for each XML document. Right? All XML elements must have closing tags. Remember, all XML tags are plain tags, and XML tags are case sensitive. So, but HTML tags are not case sensitive. You can use capital HTML, you can use small HTML, you can use capital H, small m, capital T, small m, like that. So any combinations, so that HTML tags are not case sensitive, but XML tags are case sensitive. Why? Because that is only user defined tags. User defined tags, and XML must be properly nested. What is the meaning of properly nested? You know, just here we opened root element, child and subchild. There are three pair tags are there. Subchild is the subtag of child. So you should open subchild, right? That should be closed properly first. Meaning close of this you should write. Then you should write child close. So without closing, then if you write the child, so that there is nested means that is. So without closing, you cannot do like this. Okay, XML must be properly nested. That is the meaning. And XML attributes values must be quoted. So values should be right in the, you should write within the double quotes or else single quotes. That is the meaning of quotes. Next. So this is the example. Syntax rule, defining XML syntax rules. So see here, note tag, which is having a date, is attribute. So we are specifying date, suppose 12/11/2007, right? And 2 from note. So here we are specifying value for data, attribute the date, right? So values we are specifying just as equal 12:11. Instead of that, if you specify, this is wrong actually. We are specifying. Instead of that, we should specify like this. Within double quotes, we should specify values what we are passing to the attributes. We should specify as within double quotes. Fine. Next, XML syntax rules. So actually, entity references, some character have a special meaning in XML. So see, if I want to write XML tag, message tag, salary less than 100. So this is my specification. So if you write this, you will get error less than. So if you place the character like less than inside XML dot element, it will generate an error because parses interprets it as starts of the new element. Okay. So instead of that, less than reference, less than, replace less than by the entity reference, that is ampersand LT. So that instead of using less than, if you use ampersand LT, so it will be there is no error. So the meaning of that tag, XML tag will be same. So salary less than. So ampersand LT semicolon if you specify instead of less than. Right? So like that, there are 5 predefined entity references are there. Right? Predefined entity references are there. So if you want to use less than, So you should use ampersand LT semicolon. If you want to use greater than, you can use ampersand GT semicolon. If you want to use ampersand, you should use ampersand AMP semicolon. If you want to use apostrophe, you should use ampersand APYS semicolon. If you want to use double quote between the text, we are talking about text only. Okay, so you should use ampersand quote. In this way, we should follow the syntax rules. So the syntax rules are first that should be quote nested properly, and also text value information will be you should write double quotes, and some of the references you should follow instead of less than, greater than, ampersand, and double quote. Okay. And the way of writing the comments in XML, or in what way we have written in HTML, both are same. So in order to write the comment in XML, you should follow this. Left angle bracket, exclamatory mark, 2 lines, 2 slashes, sorry, 2 hyphens. This is also write the comment, and 2 hyphen, close right angle bracket. Okay, and between the like in between them, double dashes will not be allowed. If you write this, is not count, is not allowed. Okay, so whatever you can write the content, but 2 lines, 2 dashes will not be allowed between the comments. This you should remember while writing the comments in XML. Okay, so next class we are going to discuss about we will discuss about the remaining part of the XML, how the XMLs are structured. Only thing is we learned about, so I'm summarize this. So what is XML? XML is Extensible Markup language used to which is having user defined tags. And what are the differences between XML and HTML? HTMLs are used to display the information onto the web page, and XMLs are knows about what data it has, what data it has. And then we are taking an example how that structure look like XML document. Okay, how in order to write the XML tags, what are the rules we are follow that we discussed in this video. Thank you.